copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars attention. Broadcast 212 at 5th and Olive. Assist the officer. That is all. Harmon.
If you were on trial for your life, you'd get the best lawyer in town. Fortunately, you're in no such predicament. But, friends, the life of your motor is at stake. And it's up to you. You can send it to a premature death by forcing it to use inferior motor fuels, or you can add to its lifespan and usefulness by always giving it a diet of Rio Grande cracked gasoline. No less authorities than the officials of 30 leading cities and counties throughout California declare that the lives of your police cars, fire engines, ambulances, and other public-serving cars are prolonged by the exclusive use of this superior fuel. They are on record as specifying Rio Grande cracked because they have proved that Rio Grande cracked delivers quicker starting, steadier acceleration, greater reserve power and speed, and more miles for the taxpayer's money. Drive in to the red and white Rio Grande station in your neighborhood tomorrow morning. Take aboard a tank full of this finer motor fuel and begin getting in your car the same police car performance that has made Rio Grande cracked the most highly endorsed gasoline in the West. Rio Grande appreciates the cooperation of law enforcement agencies in making possible this series of programs by opening to us the confidential files of their departments. We have therefore asked Chief James E. Davis of the Los Angeles Police Department to prepare a foreword for our program. Chief Davis.
Good evening, friends. I can best preface this program by quoting the words of Captain Edward Chitwood of our local narcotic division. He says, I wish I had time and the facilities to impress upon the American people the plots which I know, to my horror, are in motion to make this nation a dope-ridden land. Then I would have the satisfaction of sending more of these diabolical plotters into prison cells and of shocking millions of our citizens into action. Our story tonight is only one part of this insidious traffic. Multiply it 1,000 times, and you may have some idea of the enormity of the trade. I shall have more to say along this line at the end of the program.
In a remote section of a northern state of Mexico, just south of the Big Bend country, a general confers with his adjutant, Juan Vaca.
Juan, I have orders to watch for a shipment of narcotics being smuggled into the United States.
Are the drugs coming through here?
Apparently, the smugglers have grown bold.
How much do you think they are carrying?
According to the information I have received, there are drugs worth $1 million of American money being carried by these smugglers.
But where in Mexico is there so much dope?
It comes in from Japan, and then it is brought north and smuggled into the United States.
When do you expect this caravan?
It is due to pass this way at dawn, and is heavily guarded by armed men.
Does it have the protection of our government?
Of course not. But there are other officials who are not always conscientious about enforcing the law.
What do you propose to do?
I propose to stop the shipment, Juan.
And having stopped it, General?
That, Juan, waits for mañana.
Sí, mañana por la mañana.
Sí, in the morning.
El general mata al amanecer.
Sí, sí. The general kills at dawn.
A few miles to the south, a group of men, high-powered rifles carried carefully across saddle bows, rode toward the camp of the waiting general.
Hey, how much further is it?
Oh, not far now, senor. Only a few miles.
Yeah, that's what you've been saying for 2 hours.
It is only a matter of 15 or 20 miles now.
What about the soldiers in this section?
Oh, there are none that I know of, senor.
Well, it's going to be too bad for anybody who tries to stop us now, this near safety.
Oh, Your troubles only begin when you reach the United States, senor. I know. I have been there before.
Yeah, that's what Ramon told me when he sent you with me. Hey, just how many trips have you made?
Oh, maybe a dozen, maybe more, maybe less. I don't know.
Did you ever have any trouble with soldiers or customs men?
Oh, si, senor, many times.
Yeah? Well, what'd you do?
Oh, sometimes we fight, sometimes we run, sometimes we just pay.
Pay?
Si, senor. Sometimes it's easier to pay a few pesos and go free than it is to stay and fight.
Well, I'm not paying, see? I'm fighting.
That is okay, senor. Every man to his own humor. Me, I do not care to die.
You mean if there's a fight, you'll run away?
Pedro runs away from no man, senor. If el jefe says stay...
El jefe has said stay.
Still, senor, I do not wish to die.
Die. Try talking about something pleasant once in a while, will you? Hey, you guys, come on up here. This guy's getting me jittery.
I'll keep your shirt on.
Now, we're getting fairly close to the border. You birds stay close in. Hey, what the devil? Come on, let him have it.
Senor, we better run for it.
Run? And risk losing $1 million worth of morphine? Don't be a sap.
That is better than losing your life, senor.
Not from me, it ain't.
Oh. Do not shoot, soldados. We surrender.
Put down your guns. Throw them away.
See, we do that, senor. Only please, do not shoot.
Where are the drugs you're carrying?
Here, in the bag the senor was carrying. The man you killed.
All right. Keep your hands up.
Please, senor, do not shoot.
They are all dead, Senor General.
Sí, es la verdad, Juan. The general always kills at dawn. Juan, take a letter.
Si, Senor.
To the commanding general, Department of the North. At dawn on this date, a detachment of my men discovered what they believed to be a band of smugglers. Unfortunately, the suspected men began firing on my troops.
A very foolish thing.
Yes, a very foolish thing. You may include that, Juan.
Si, Senor.
My men returned the fire, and as a result, 6 men of the suspected group were killed.
Shall we say more men, General?
No, I think 6 is enough. Continue. It was found, however, that the men were not the smugglers,
But, General.
but were instead evidently escaped prisoners. I have buried the bodies near my camp. Oh, have you attended to that, Juan?
Si, Senor.
We will not mention that 3 of the men were Americans.
It would not be wise.
No. Continue. There was no way to identify these men. New paragraph, Juan. It is my duty further to report that in the fighting, my trusted lieutenant, Juan Vaca, was killed, together with 4 of my men.
Aye, General?
See, Juan, you and 4 others were killed in that fight.
But, General, I do not understand.
You will in time. Finish the letter.
Si, Senor. It is ready for you to sign.
Bueno. We shall send it later. Now, you remember the rancho I own in New Mexico?
I remember it, General.
That will be your home from now on.
How about the narcotics?
That is my problem. When you have established yourself, you will send your wife to me. Through her, we will smuggle the drugs into the United States. Your job will be to sell them.
I see. That will be easy. I know many men who will help me.
Bueno. But do not trust anybody, not even your wife.
I will not, Senor.
You will take orders from me, just as you do now. I will tell you when to sell and when not to sell. Meantime, get ready to start. You cross the border at dawn.
Our scene shifts to Los Angeles and to the office of Captain Chitwood, head of the narcotics squad of the Los Angeles Police.
Well, look, you might as well stop stalling and tell us what we want to know.
Well, geez, Cap, why pick on me? Why don't you go after the big guy?
You've been peddling dope and we know it.
Yeah, but I'm just a piker compared to the big guy. Go get him.
What big guy?
Oh, Cap, I'd tell you if I knew. But honest, I don't know.
Hey, stop trying to give me the runaround.
I ain't doing that, Cap, honest. This guy's the biggest bird that ever hit the coast. He's got tons of the stuff.
Okay, name one man who's seen this big guy or talked to him, and I'll give your case my personal attention. I'll do what I can for you.
Swell, Cap. Now let me think. There's a guy named Fox mixed up in it somewhere. I don't know just where. I ain't never seen him, but I know he's in on it. And that's all I do know, Captain, so help me.
All right. I'll find out if you're telling the truth. Lock him up, Brown.
Yes, sir.
Say, wait a minute. I want you and Bozart to get out here and see what you can dig up on this for me. You remember that little Korean Ito we had in here last month?
Do I remember him? Will I ever forget him?
Well, see if you can pick him up again. I want to ask him some questions. I'm going to circulate around on Central Avenue and see what I can find out.
Quietly, Captain Chitwood and his men sifted through that section of Los Angeles where those who take and sell dope circulated, asking few questions, ever alert for some clue, some whisper that would lead to the big guy. Flashing a big roll, Chitwood let it be known that he was interested in a racket so secret that even he would not talk about it. To such a crowd, such a racket meant one thing, dope. One evening, pretending to be drunk, he stood at a bar in one of Los Angeles' most notorious dives.
Hi, Joe.
Hiya tonight, partner.
Swell.
I'll buy you a drink.
Yeah, not on your life. I'll buy you one.
Okay. Bourbon, Slim.
Yeah, me too.
I hear you're interested in buying, well, something besides liquor.
Me? What do you mean?
Not so loud. You know what I mean.
I do not. What gave you the idea that I'm in such a racket?
Never mind how I know. I do. That's enough. I just thought I'd tip you off to something.
Well?
There's a new guy in a racket here.
Oh, that's so?
Yeah. Maybe I could get you to him.
So?
Only you don't deal with small fry. Big stuff only.
Yeah, how big?
50 grand and up.
Nuts. You call that big?
Say, this guy has got more dough back of him than you've ever seen.
Yeah, so what?
And he's got more stuff to peddle than you can ever sell.
Says you.
You heard me.
So where'd he get it? In Dreamland?
Now keep this under your hat. It comes from Mexico.
Yeah, I know. Right through the custom guard. Tell me another one.
I'm telling you straight. Besides, he's got plenty of protection. Right in this town, too.
Yeah, that's your story, and you're stuck with it. Well, I got a date. I'm scramming.
Be back tomorrow night?
Yeah, maybe, if you've got any more fairy tales to tell me.
Nuts to you.
And that, boys, was what I found out about the big guy.
Beauchard's got Ito in the other room. You want to talk to him?
Sure. Maybe he knows something more than we do.
Well, we found out plenty in some of the dumps we've been in. Seems that this stuff hasn't started coming in, but everybody seems to know there's a new bird in the racket.
Well, we'll soon find out what our little brown brother from Korea knows.
But, Lieutenant Beauchard, I don't know anything about it.
How are you, Ito?
Captain Chitwood, what is this all about?
Now, calm yourself, Ito. We aren't after you. We just want some information.
I'm no stool pigeon.
Well, that's a matter for interpretation. However, we're here and you're here to find out something. I want to know who Fox is.
I don't know.
Come on, don't stall.
I'm not stalling, Chitwood.
Listen, we know exactly how much you do know about Fox, and if you don't want to rot in jail, you'll talk.
All right. I do know Fox. He came to me to sell me some junk. He said he had hundreds of dollars worth of it.
Yeah, what does this guy Fox do?
He has a real estate office. He works at it some, too. It makes a swell front.
I imagine it does. Where is this joint?
He's got an office at 5th and Olive. You can find him there.
All right, Ito. I hope for your sake that you're telling the truth. You can go now, and keep your mouth shut.
Thanks, Captain. I have told you the truth.
They put a tail on him, Bozart. Don't lose sight of him day or night. Hand me that phone, will you, Brown? I'm going to call Harry Smith. This looks like a job that we're going to need federal help on.
Thus, with a bona fide lead with which to build his case, Chitwood calls in the federal narcotic agents. In Chitwood's office, Harry D. Smith, supervisor of the government's narcotic bureau, listens to the story.
And that's the story so far.
What next?
Well, we've got to find some way to get in touch with this big shot before he floods the country with these drugs.
Exactly. And I believe we should use an Oriental if
Well,
possible.
That's what I figured. We have a man who's worked for us before. He just got in this morning. He's beneath getting the heat off from the last job he helped us on. Now, he has stubs from his steamship tickets and hotel receipts from Eastern hotels. He'll be above suspicion.
Good man. Let's use him. Is he honest?
As honest as the day is long, and he hates the traffic. If we had more men like Henry Chang, we'd have less to fear from the drug trade.
Yes, but how will he be able to get in on this?
Well, I've rented 2 suites in a hotel downtown. We've wired dictographs into the suite Chang's to occupy. When he gets firmly established, he'll contact Fox and make arrangements.
Well, Mr. Fox, as I've told you, I'm new here. I have some money to invest in leases. I would like to see what you have to offer.
Just what sort of leases, Mr. Chang?
something in real estate, or shall we say an office building, perhaps?
Well, I've got some pretty interesting properties on my list.
Suppose you bring something over tomorrow, and we'll discuss it.
Fine. I'll do that. There you are, Mr. Chang. As pretty a lease as you ever saw. Now, there's a piece of property.
Do you know Mr. Ito?
Yeah. What's that?
I say, do you know Mr. Ito?
Well, yes, slightly.
I am interested in the sort of property Mr. Ito buys.
You are?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you say so? I think I can do something along that line.
You have the property to sell?
No, but a friend of mine does. I'd like to have you meet him.
My honorable ancestors shall not rest in peace until I have done so.
Swell. I'll get in touch with him. But I warn you, he deals only in big figures.
That is the only way I deal. Maybe we could do business, he and I.
Well, say, can't you do business through me?
Don't worry, my friend. I shall see that you get your commission. As a matter of fact, I will match any sum your friend pays you.
Well, now, that's mighty white of you. I mean,
Yes, I understand perfectly, my friend.
A week passed, during which Fox made many calls to the suite of Henry Chang. At the headphones in the adjoining suite, Chitwood or one of his men waited the interminable hours. Then, one day, 2 weeks later, Fox arrived with another man.
Mr. Chang, this is the boss. This is Mr. White. Mr. Chang's the gentleman I spoke to you about.
How do you do, Mr. Chang? I'm mighty glad to know you. Fox here's been telling me a great deal about you.
I hope it was pleasant.
Certainly it was. Just the same, I'm here to see for myself. I hope you don't mind.
No, not at all. I've been wanting to meet you. I never deal through a middleman.
You're not dealing with a middleman now.
Then let us get down to business.
No, not so fast. You understand, of course, I must communicate with my partner. I must know what size lots you want to deal in.
Just who is your partner, may I ask?
Certainly. The fellow living down in New Mexico. Now, what size lots did you say?
The bigger, the better.
I see. And how do I know you can afford to pay for any large amount of C or O or M? Assuming, of course, that I see they're delivered to you.
I can show you a certified check for $50,000 any time you care to see it.
$50,000?
Fine. Don't misunderstand me, though. I am not turning over such amount to you as that until I am certain that the stuff I get is of good quality.
Oh, never give it a thought. Why, it's as pure as the, shall we say, drifted snow.
Oh.
Tell me, you buying this for yourself alone?
I do not see that enters into it. But for your information, I represent the Chicago Syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
We would just as soon buy from you as anybody if your stuff is good. Moreover, we have got to know that you can supply the demand once we have started using your stuff.
Now, don't let that worry you. My supply is unlimited.
Do you mind disclosing the source of this supply?
Not at all. Down in Mexico, there's a certain general who has plenty of power and influence and an easy conscience.
Oh.
One day he received word of a large shipment of morphine that was to be smuggled through the border. Well, when he tried to stop it, the guards got spry with their trigger fingers, and it became necessary for the general to eliminate them. And there he was with $1 million worth of fine Japanese morphine on his hands and nothing to do with it. So what was the poor general to do? He had to find a market for the stuff or destroy it.
And then?
Well, the general, being a shrewd businessman, waited. And while he waited, he investigated the drug traffic and decided that the United States was the logical market for his merchandise.
Did he bring it all into this country?
Why, bless you, no. As a matter of fact, he's still in Mexico, still commanding his garrison down there. He sends the stuff across to his agents here, and my partner is one of them.
And who is this general?
The general? I haven't the slightest idea. All I know is that Vaca, he's my partner, used to be in the same outfit with this general. That's how I came to know the story.
Well, how do you know he will ship the stuff if I do buy it?
Mr. Chang, you just show me the 50,000, and I'll guarantee delivery.
I do not think that would be a wise step.
No? Why not?
Until I have seen the drug and know its quality. Suppose you order $500 worth. If it is up to standard, I'll take the rest.
Well, I don't know how the general will take that. You see, he's a proud man. He'll resent it as a slur on his honor.
In that case, we cannot do business. I cannot sit around here for weeks letting him nurse his pride. Either order the $500 sample or forget the whole thing.
No, just wait a minute. I didn't say we wouldn't do it. You see, I'll have to put in a call to my partner and see what he says.
That is all right with me, but let us get started. Be here tomorrow. I have the check. I pay the $500 when the drug arrives.
Next day, White returned, and after satisfying himself as to the authenticity of the check showed him by Chang, he departed and wired Vaca in Soaco, New Mexico. Chitwood's men immediately secured a copy of the telegram and decoded it. A week elapsed, another, and a third. Finally, the inactivity began to tell on officers and criminals alike. Chitwood and the federal agents kept a constant watch on the hotel rooms and on White and Fox. Investigations conducted by the federal agents in New Mexico revealed that Vaca, surrounded by his henchmen, was a most deadly and feared man. Finally, White telephoned Vaca and received assurance that the sample shipment was on its way. At last, the crucial day arrived. Chitwood and his men, poised, ready to spring. Chang, ready with marked money, awaited White's arrival.
Come in. I had about decided the deal was off.
Oh, bless you, no. My things were never better.
Where is the stuff?
It's on its way. It'll be here any minute now.
And who is bringing it?
Why not wait and see?
This is no time for games.
No, don't be so impatient. The stuff is coming.
You are mistaken about my motives, my friend. It is not impatience. I am merely tired of the delays. It would have been better if I had looked elsewhere.
Oh, no, you mustn't feel that way. Why, think of the amount of this stuff we can get. Oh, excuse me. Oh, come right in, Mrs. Vaca. How do you do? How is your husband?
Oh, he's fine, thank you. This is Mrs. Garcia, a friend of mine.
How do you do? You can get your things off right in the next room, right in here. That's it. That's fine.
What is this? A white slave act, a party, or a narcotic delivery?
Splendid, Mr. Chang, splendid. No one can say you Orientals haven't got a sense of humor. You ready, Mrs. Vaca?
See, here you are.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Chang, here's a nice little linen girdle. We turn it over like this, and there you are. Nice, fresh cotton morphine.
Oh, very good, very good. Have you a pencil?
Pencil? Oh, to be sure.
Yes. I wish to test it. Oh, it is very good grade.
Here is the other girdle, Senor Juan.
Oh, yes. Thank you, my dear. Thank you.
Listen, how do I know that you will not double-cross me and turn me over to officers?
Officers? Oh, Mr. Chang, I'm surprised. Officers, indeed. You don't have to worry about that. Don't you know the mayor of this town's on my payroll?
Oh, that is so?
Yes, and not only that, but the district attorney and I are just like that.
Just like that.
Mm-hmm. And the local narcotic man. Why, he eats out of my hand.
Oh, you know the narcotic officer in the police department?
Know him. Why, I've had him under my thumb for months.
Oh, that's fine. Well, here is the 500.
Thank you.
Take him up, White. You too, ladies.
Who the devil are you?
Take it easy. Keep your hands in the air. Thanks, Henry. Good work.
It was a pleasure.
Say, what is this? Get out of my private quarters.
My quarters, Mr. White.
Say, who are these men? What does this mean?
The two by the door are federal narcotic agents. The other two over there are narcotic agents from the police department.
Who are these women, Chang?
Mrs. Vaca and a friend, Mrs. Garcia.
Well, that's the names we heard on the dictograph. I just wanted to be sure. Where's your husband, Mrs. Vaca?
In New Mexico. You'll never get him.
Maybe.
If you do, you'll never convict him. His men will take him away from you right under your very noses.
Confident, aren't you? Brown, handcuff those two men, will you?
Come on, you two.
You two women wear these linen girdles in here?
See, under our dresses and coats. The customs men knew better than to search us themselves. And they've never been suspicious enough to have a matron do it.
You're pretty sure of yourselves, aren't you?
I am.
Now, look here. I've stood about enough of this. Who are you, anyway?
Oh, don't you know me?
Know you? I don't know you from Adam.
This is Captain Chitwood, the man who eats out of your hand.
What?
He's been under your thumb for months.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, you and the DA are just like that. Well, let me see you get out of this rap. Now, take him down to the station, boys. Send a car around for these women.
2 years later, a detachment of soldiers are encamped just below the Mexican border. A man walks into camp and inquires for the commanding officer.
Senor General. Senor General. Pardon me for waking you at this hour, but the man says he must see you.
Well, who is he?
It's I, Senor General. Juan Vaca.
So, Juan. You're back, eh?
Senor. I have served my sentence, 2 years in prison.
2 years in American prison, eh? How did you like it, Juan?
Not so good, General.
It has been a long time since we have seen each other, eh? And not since that other dawn.
That is right, Senor. At sunrise 5 years ago, it was that I left.
And that dawn had looked down on 6 others, dead. That was the beginning of a good fortune, Juan. I'll never forget the expression we used that day. El general mata al amanecer.
Sí. El general kills at dawn. I shall never forget it, senor, never. Even in prison, I thought of it.
Sí, Juan. El general mata al amanecer. The general kills at dawn.
In just a moment, we will hear again from Chief Davis. We of the Calling All Cars cast sincerely believe Rio Grande Cracked is the finest gasoline made. But in the event that some might think us prejudiced in its favor because we are in the employ of the sponsor, we do not ask that you take our word for it. We refer you to the drivers of police cars and other emergency equipment who tested all brands and finally chose Rio Grande Cracked as the gasoline which met all the rigid requirements demanded in the performance of imperative public service. Then your public service drivers rolled up a total of 55 million miles of emergency driving over California highways in a single year. These men who drive 100 miles where you and I drive 1 have assigned to Rio Grande Cracked the exclusive responsibility of powering their cars in all kinds of weather and under the most trying conditions. Don't wait until the first of the year. Resolve now that you will begin giving your police car performance tomorrow morning. And follow up that resolution by driving into the nearest red and white Rio Grande station for a tank full of Rio Grande Cracked, the most highly endorsed gasoline in the West. And now, Chief Davis.
It was found that Frederick Grant White was under conviction on a previous charge, which was then pending on appeal. He was sent to McNeil Island and later transferred to Alcatraz to forestall extradition fights when released. He is now in Folsom Prison, serving his original sentence. Mrs. Vaca and her friend each received 30-month sentences, Mrs. Garcia dying in prison. As far as we know, the general is still operating. White recently applied for parole, a plea which was denied, a fact that should make all citizens thankful and remind the criminal that crime does not pay.
Thank you, Chief Davis. This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande. Calling All Cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Calling all cars, attention all cars to all point broadcast number 213 regarding the Shanghai prisoner. No description of suspect in this case. That's all. Rosenquist.
Well, friends, the last few days before Christmas find the stores more crowded and traffic heavier than ever before. If your car has failed to catch the holiday spirit, if it hesitates on the start and runs unwillingly, it is high time you did a little shopping in its behalf. Be guided in your purchase by the biggest buyers of gasoline and those who drive the most. Follow the example of the men who drive your police cars and other public service equipment by always relying upon the greater reserve power and speed of Rio Grande cracked gasoline. Not only during the stress of heavier holiday traffic, but all the year round, this superior motor fuel powers more police cars, ambulances, fire engines, and other emergency cars wherever it is sold than any other brand. Turn in at the red and white Rio Grande station in your neighborhood tomorrow morning for a tank full of Rio Grande cracked, the most highly recommended gasoline in the West. The finest Christmas present for your car and the motoring pleasure of your family that money can buy. The case we are to hear tonight was taken in the main from the confidential files of the office of the Stockton County Sheriff. We have therefore asked Sheriff Harvey M. Odell to prepare a foreword for our program.
Tonight you will hear the story of a man who had an air of confidence about him that made this storybook adventure possible. He had one of the finest personalities I've ever found in a man. Had his abilities been expended in the proper direction, he no doubt would have been one of America's leading businessmen of today. He took what he thought to be the easiest way to wealth, and today is back in prison serving a long stay for his later activities in Stockton. No, crime does not pay, not even for the shrewdest and those blessed with personality.
Rio Grande is proud to present the distinguished actor, Mr. Lyle Talbot, in the role of Peter Trim, the Shanghai Jester.
Hello, Trim. Glad you dropped in. Was just thinking about you.
That's so? I thought I might be interrupting an important conference from the way the girl took my case history when I asked for you.
Oh, think nothing of it. I was just closing that Smithson deal.
Well, I thought you said yesterday that was a pretty big proposition.
Well, yes and no. We'll net about $750,000, more or less, but it isn't very important.
Not as important as that golf game of ours, is it?
No, I'll say it isn't. Hey, what time is it? Boy, we better get started.
After you. Boy, a honey. Well, let's see where I go. I get worse every day. Look at that slice.
Oh, you'll straighten up.
I doubt it.
What's this I hear about you having a secret sugar refining process?
Oh, it's just a little formula I picked up over in Germany.
How'd you happen to get it?
I happened to run into a fellow I'd known over here for quite a while. He told me about it. He'd been working on it for years.
Anything to it?
Well, I don't know, to be truthful about it. All I know is that he says he can extract sugar from marsh grass for less than it takes even to harvest regular sugar cane.
Well, here's your ball. You better play it about 50 feet from the left of that tree yonder.
Okay.
Nice shot. Did you say marsh grass?
Yep, that's right.
You mean like that stuff that grows around salt marshes along the coast?
Sure.
Will it work?
Sure it'll work.
Ever seen it?
Listen, this process will absolutely revolutionize the sugar-making industry.
Why haven't you done anything about it?
Well, I need capital.
Oh, is that all?
Ever try raising $500,000 to put into something like this?
Hundreds of times. The lead pipe cinch.
That's so?
Yes, if capital's all that's holding the deal up, why, we can fix that up in no time. I can give you a list of names of fellows who could put up that much money without batting an eye.
Then you're just the man I've been looking for. Now, look at it this way, Mr. King. We all know that most of the food products we have today are refined forms of native grasses. Take wheat, for example. Now, wheat is nothing more nor less than a wild grass that has been domesticated, cultivated, and developed to its present state. Flour is a refined form of this grass.
Yeah, but what's the connection with this process of yours?
Well, sugarcane is in the same category as wheat. It's a wild grass, the same family as marsh grass, The family's name is Saccharum officinarum. Now, I don't mean that just any marsh grass will produce a high grade of sugar, but the grass found in this section, right here around San Francisco, and a little way up the coast, that's the kind that has the highest sugar content. The supply is unlimited. All we need is a factory equipped to extract the sugar.
Well, how long will it take to get underway?
Well, that all depends on how long it takes to get the company organized and get the necessary capital. I'm putting $50,000 of my own into this thing, as well as the formula.
How much is Noble coming in for?
Well, confidentially, of course. He's coming in for $50,000.
Well, you come back tomorrow and I'll give you a check. I want 100,000 of this stuff after I've looked into your proposition.
All right, Mr. King. I'll see you tomorrow. Now, Captain, I don't have to tell you how important the sugar industry is to this country. A man of your ability knows, without being told, that there's more money to be made in America today than at any time in our history. Why, look at Dole. What's he done with the pineapple? Pineapples are just grasses, like sugarcane, wheat, rice, and all the rest. Why, there isn't a civilized country on the globe that doesn't use grass as food.
Yes, but we don't call it that.
All right. Is there anything to prevent us from calling our product something else? We can't very well tell the public that we're selling it marsh grass sugar, but when the consumer finds out that he's getting a superior product for less money, we'll be rolling in money before we know it.
Sounds attractive, all right.
It is attractive, Captain. It's more than that. It's a golden opportunity for the men who get in on the ground floor. Now, I'm putting in 100,000 of my own, and the formula. That doesn't look like a man who's afraid of a proposition, does it? Noble's down for 200,000, and King's coming in for 225. This is $1 million concern, Captain. You can't afford to pass up an opportunity like this.
Well, I don't know.
Now, let's look at it from this angle. Last year, this country imported 2 million tons of sugar. That sugar was sold at prices ranging from 5 cents to 10 cents a pound. Think of it. 5 cents a pound for 2 million tons of sugar. The figure's incomprehensible. Now, we can cut into that market like a hot knife into butter.
Sounds like a good thing.
Oh, it is a good thing. Assume that we can market enough sugar to cut the import in half. That's 1 million tons. My process will give us a profit of 4 cents a pound on a sale basis of 5 cents. We can sell better sugar at about half the price. That's a profit of $8 million. Think of it, $8 million. That's over $1.5 million to you as your share. Of course, if you wanted to hold a larger interest, that would be up to you.
$1.5 million. Trim, I'll do it. I want 200,000 shares of this. I can match Noble and King any day.
But the dream of sudden and enormous wealth burst like all bubbles of like nature, and the long arm of the law gathered in the loquacious Peter Trim for a stay in San Quentin. We find him now saying goodbye to the warden, 3 years after the collapse of his marsh grass scheme.
Well, Trim, what are you going to do now?
Anything, so long as it's honest.
You've learned your lesson, have you, Peter?
Yes, Warden, I have. I've had a lot of time to think things over in here. I've found that crime really doesn't pay. Of course, I didn't really do anything criminal myself. I was just unlucky.
Yeah, of course.
As a matter of fact, my sugar process is still all right. Why, all I need is a little capital. I tell you, Warden, there's millions
Wait a minute, Trim. Hold your horses. I'm not in the market for your get-rich-quick schemes. I thought you'd learned your lesson.
I'm sorry, Warden.
I hear you've got some prospects with some of the steamship people.
That's right, Warden. I've got a chance to go to the Orient. Think I'll go out there and start all over again.
Honestly?
Huh? Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Well, goodbye, and good luck, Trim. And I hope I don't ever see you again. Well, in here.
So long, Warden.
Beg pardon, Captain, but a wireless just came for you.
Well, where is it?
Right here, sir.
Well, let me have it, confound it. So young Dollar couldn't get to the pier on sailing time. He will overtake us in a speedboat before we clear the gate, will he?
Young Mr. Dollar, sir?
Yes, Harold Dollar, the owner's son. See that you treat him accordingly.
Aye, sir.
I suppose that's his boat coming now.
I presume so, sir.
Well, don't stand there gaping. Get the landing stage down. Man the rail.
Aye, sir.
Well, Mr. Dollar, how do you like our boat this trip?
I beg your pardon? Were you speaking to me?
Certainly. Aren't you the only Mr. Dollar on board?
Oh, yes, of course. Now, what were you saying?
I asked you if you were enjoying the trip.
Oh, certainly, to be sure. I'm sorry, but I was thinking of something else.
So I gathered. What branch of the company are you going into in Shanghai?
Sugar.
Sugar?
Of course, sugar.
But I don't understand.
Oh, I'm going to look into the sugar importations from China. See if we can't increase the company's revenues from that source.
But there are no sugar imports from China.
Aren't there?
No.
Well, then we'll create some.
If you'll excuse me, I'll look after the forward winch.
Oh, fine. I'll go with you.
No, we don't permit the passengers to get near the machinery.
Machinery?
Yes, machinery.
Oh, I see.
I'm so glad.
I'll see you later, then.
By all means. Huh. That's my future boss.
I beg pardon, Captain. Have you seen Mr. Dollar?
Yes. Right over there by the rail.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, Mr. Dollar.
Yes?
I'm Jones, American Club, Shanghai. I was hoping we'd have the pleasure of having you as our guest while you're in the Orient.
Well, thanks a lot. That's mighty nice of you.
Not at all. We would consider it an honor. Your father always makes his home at the club when he's in Shanghai.
Oh, yes, of course.
You know, like father, like son.
Yes, yes.
Well, I'll be popping along. See you at dinner.
Yes, at dinner.
Nice fellow, Jones. Bit eccentric, but a swell chap.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, I don't believe we've met. I'm Joe Marshall. I'm attached to the court in Shanghai. Just got back from taking a prisoner over to San Quentin.
San Quentin?
Yeah, we board our federal prisoners there. Ordinarily, I send them over on one of the transports, but this was sort of a rush order, so I brought them over myself.
I see. Well, I'm glad to know you. We'll see a lot of each other, I hope.
Yeah, I'll show you around. Some of the better places, bars especially.
I'm especially interested in bars.
Yeah, you're gonna like Shanghai.
Yes, I believe I am.
Mr. Dollar, I'm from the Journal. Mind standing over here, Mr. Dollar? We'd like a picture.
Oh, no pictures, please. You see, it's not generally known that I'm on the boat. I'd rather not have any publicity, please.
Oh, well, will you give us a statement then, Mr. Dollar? Just what is the purpose of your trip?
Well, purely scientific. I'm investigating the possibility of extracting a commercial product from bamboo.
You mind telling us about it?
I'd rather not. Confidentially, however, it will bring enormous wealth to certain financial interests in China and make certain exporters in Cuba and the Philippines very unhappy.
Well, it couldn't be used to sweeten things by any chance, could it?
Well, you never can tell. Well, thank you, boys. See you later.
So long, Mr. Dollar. Thank you.
You know what I think, Benny?
No, what?
I think he's nuts.
3 months pass. Our scene is a courtroom in Shanghai. The case is that of the people versus Peter Phillips.
Mr. Jones, you say you were a passenger on board the boat when Mr. Phillips came to Shanghai.
Yes, sir.
Did you know him then as Peter Phillips?
No, sir. I knew him as Harold Dollar.
Who introduced him to you as Harold Dollar?
Why, no one. Everybody on the boat called him that.
Then it was generally understood on board ship that this man, who calls himself Phillips, was Harold Dollar.
Yes, it was.
Did you ever see this man after you arrived at Shanghai?
Oh, many times.
Where?
Why, lots of places. I understand he was associated with the Dollar Line offices, and he lived at the American Club.
Are you connected with that club?
Yes. I'm cashier there.
Now, Mr. Jones, I show you this check made out to cash and signed Harold Dollar. Did you ever see that check before?
Yes, sir. I cashed that check for Mr. Phillips.
Did you see him write this check?
Yes, sir.
Did you see him sign it?
Yes, sir.
Is this the name he wrote on that check?
It is.
Please read that name.
Harold J. Dollar.
Now, you say you gave this man, the defendant, $200 in exchange for this check.
Yes, sir.
Then what did you do with the check?
I deposited the check in the club's account, and it came back to me.
With this slip attached?
Yes, sir.
Please read the notation on the slip attached to the check.
Returned because of improper signature.
Then what did you do?
I went to the bank, and they showed me Mr. Dollar's signature.
Was it similar to the one on this check?
No, sir. It wasn't.
What did you do then?
I went to the steamship company. They said that Mr. Dollar was in London. He hadn't been in Shanghai in 6 months.
Did you see the defendant at that time?
Yes, sir.
What was he doing?
He was filing some papers in a filing cabinet.
What did you do?
I called the police and had him arrested.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. That will be all.
It is the sentence of this court that you be delivered to an officer of the court, and that you be taken to the city of Nagasaki, Japan, and that on or before June 19th, you be delivered to the commanding officer of the transport Sheridan, an American ship, and that you be transported to the United States, and there delivered to the warden of San Quentin Prison, and be confined for a period of not less than 1 year, nor more than 3 years. You may take charge of the prisoner.
Come on, Phillips.
Okay, Joe.
In a bar in Nagasaki, we find Joe Marshall and his prisoner, who, after hours of persuasion, has prevailed upon Marshall to celebrate Trim's departure.
Good old Joe. My pal. Never thought I'd be going back like this.
Oh, that's too bad, Phillips, old pal. It's too bad. We all have to do it sometime, though.
Have to do what, Joe?
I don't know, Pete. What?
I don't know. Hey, waiter, bring us another bottle.
No. I don't want any more, Pete. I got to get you on board a transport, and
I don't want to go on no transport. I want to go on a ship.
I can't help it, Pete. I can't help it. You got to go on a transport. That's the judge's order.
Let me see him.
It's right here. It's right here. It's just as plain. Right here. It says, deliver to the commanding officer of the Sheridan. Good old Sheridan. And Sheridan's 50 miles away.
I always liked Sheridan. He had the right idea.
Sure he did. And he says war is hell. And it is, too. I know.
Oh, no, that wasn't Sheridan. That was Grant that said that.
That was Sheridan. Grant said, Lafayette, we're here.
No, listen, Joe. That was Washington said that just after he crossed the Rubicon.
Oh, wait a minute. There's a guy over here at that table over here. We'll ask him. Come on. Now, wait a minute. Listen, old man, listen. We want you to settle a little argument, you see. Now, I say that we...
Don't very good English speak yet, but understand.
Yeah, well, now, listen. That don't make no difference. You listen, now, here. I claim that it was Sheridan who...
Excuse me, but maybe you better ask some other fella.
How about your friend here?
Oh, he's too drunk. He's going back to the ship. He don't understand nothing, no how.
Okay, we'll let him sleep. Now, look here. I claim that Grant said that...
don't know no feller named Grant. All I know is the Swedish feller. Sounds like your friend here been very much sleepy.
Yeah, looks that way, doesn't it?
He very funny feller. He can carry papers around in his hand like that. Maybe he lose them, yeah?
Yeah. Eh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he might at that. I guess I better take care of him for him.
Yeah. You give him back to him when he's sober up, no?
Oh, yes, sure. Come on, let's have another drink.
Oh, yeah, sure. I have another drink. I had lots of them. Say, you know something funny?
No, what?
I very peculiar feller. I drink lots of whiskey, then I no remember nothing. Always I can walk and talk, even English, but I cannot remember a thing. And when I am sober, I stutter, and I talk only Swedish.
Oh, that's so?
Yeah, sure. I stutter so bad that sometimes Captain, he say, go away, Johansson. Go get drunk. Then you come back and tell me. Ain't that funny?
Yeah, awfully funny. Awfully funny. Here, have another drink.
Yeah, sure. Your pal, funny fella. His snores sound like a foghorn.
Say, how'd you like to take a boat ride?
Yeah, sure thing. Where we go?
Oh, for a little ride.
Yeah, sure. Come on, let's go.
You asked for me?
Yes, Captain. I have orders to deliver a prisoner to you.
Let me see the papers.
Here you are, sir.
Peter Phillips. 3 years for forgery. San Quentin, delivered by Joseph Marshall. All right, Mr. Marshall, I'll fill out this receipt. Where is your prisoner?
He's below, sir. A little drunk. We'll have to have some men hoist him aboard.
Very well. Here, Sneed. Get a couple of the men to bring up a prisoner from the boat below.
Aye, aye, sir.
There you are, Mr. Marshall. There's your receipt.
Thank you, Captain. Well, I'll be shoving off. Pleasant voyage.
Thank you, sir. Take care of those papers.
Don't worry. I'll file them in their proper place.
A few weeks later, a prisoner is delivered to the warden at San Quentin.
Varför är jag under bevakning? Ni har
Calm
inte
down.
någon rätt
What's
att
all the
hålla mig här.
excitement? Take it easy.
Vad betyder detta?
Oh, wait a minute. Look here.
Jag
This
vill
isn't getting us
veta vad jag är
anywhere.
här.
Can't you speak English?
Jag vill hem.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Svara
Hey,
mig.
Sam.
Yes, sir?
You got anybody around here who can interpret what this bird's trying to say?
Well, let me see. We got a chaplain here who used to know some Norwegian or something like that.
Bring him in
Jag
here.
vill
Yes,
hem. Jag
sir.
vill inte vara här.
All right, now wait a minute.
Hey,
Hold on. I
hey,
told you I didn't
hey,
have any
hey,
idea
hey,
what
hey.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, just sit still a while. We'll try to get to the bottom of all this excitement.
You want to see me what?
Oh, yes. See if you can find out what's wrong with this guy.
Jag vill ut från här. Jag skulle inte vara här. Ni har tagit fel.
But how did you happen to get into this place?
Jag var i Shanghai i Nagasaki. En man träffade mig i en saloon. Han satte mig på en skepp. Jag har inte gjort ingenting.
Who was this man?
Jag vet inte. Jag har aldrig sett honom förr.
What does he say?
He says a man met him in a saloon in Nagasaki, and the man got him drunk and put him on a boat. That's all he knows about it.
Well, who was the man?
He doesn't know.
Well, according to the records, he was a court officer. Say, was this man who put you on the boat an officer? You know, policeman?
No. Han var en hög tunn man.
Well, would you recognize him if you saw him again?
Ja.
I don't know what to make of this. His commitment's in good order. I've got ample authority to hold this man, yet somehow I don't believe he's the right man. Obviously, the name Phillips is an alias, but what's happened?
Maybe there's a possibility the man's telling the truth.
Well, there's one chance we might try. It's slim, but we can let this man look over the mug books. Maybe we've got a picture he'll recognize. That's assuming that his story's true, Gord.
At any rate, it's only right and just that we try it.
Detta är mannen. Den är rätt där.
Are you positive, Johannesson?
Jag är säker. Detta är mannen som gjorde mig full och Shanghai mig på skeppet.
He says this is the man who shanghaied him.
Huh? Let me see. What? Well, that's Peter Trim. He just got out of here last February.
Evidently, he's the man who's done the job.
I'll check his fingerprints against the record card Johansson brought with him. We'll soon find out if he's the man.
The warden, convinced that by some means an innocent man had been railroaded to prison, began a searching investigation. Contacting the Federal Department of Justice, the warden took further steps to release the Shanghai prisoner. Federal investigators had by now traced Peter Trim, alias Phillips, to Manila.
Now look, Major. You know the sugar content of the pineapple. You know what Dole has done in the Hawaiian Islands.
Everyone does.
You'll admit that Cuba has practically a monopoly on the sugar business. The figures speak for themselves. Take 4 million tons of sugar. That's a lot of sugar.
That's too much sugar.
Well, it is a good-sized pile. But look at it from a dollar and cents angle. By my process, we can produce sugar from bamboo sprouts at a price that can compete with the finest thing Cuba can produce. We can flood the market with a better sugar, produced for less, sold for less, and that'll bring enormous profits to those of us who invest in the thing now.
Well, how did you happen to come to the islands with this proposition? I should think you'd have more luck raising capital in the States.
In a way, that's true. But in the States, there are too many restrictions. Besides, bamboo doesn't grow with any degree of success in any of the States. I've tried various forms of grasses and canes, but nothing gives the results of bamboo.
Why don't you try China? There's lots of loose money floating around there.
Well, China has certain drawbacks also. I found that the grade of bamboo you have here in the islands is fine enough to produce a higher grade of sugar than you'll find on the market today. All we need is capital. We have the formula, we can get the machinery, but we have to have capital to operate. Now, the men who get in on the ground floor of this thing are going to make a killing.
Well, I'll think it over. See me tomorrow.
And won't be necessary, Major. This gentleman won't be here.
Just what do you mean by that? Who are you?
Inspector Henning, Department of Justice. We've been looking for you for some time now.
Who is this man, Inspector?
This man is one of the smoothest confidence men we have around, Major. He sold that sugar scheme I overheard him telling you about to dozens of men in the last few years.
You mean he hasn't got a process for making sugar from bamboo?
Bamboo? Huh. This bird couldn't get sugar out of a sugar bowl. Say, Trim, there's something I'd like to know personally. How'd you get those commitment papers signed and returned to Marshall?
That was easy. Poor old Joe was so pie-eyed drunk, I took the papers, delivered the suite to the commander of the Sheridan, took the papers back and put them in Joe's pocket and beat it to Manila. Joe thought that he'd delivered the prisoner himself. I'll bet he's still wondering how it happened.
Very probably. Well, this time there'll be no celebration. Just the return of the Shanghai Jester.
Friends of Rio Grande cracked gasoline and followers of Calling All Cars. As you, of course, appreciate, the underlying reason for this program is to acquaint you with the true merit of Rio Grande products. At the same time, the guiding light of this series is a high resolve to contribute to the public welfare by establishing and emphasizing the truth that crime does not pay. By the very prominence we give to the misdeeds of men, we acknowledge that the lawless are only an infinitesimal portion of a law-abiding citizenry. There is more good than evil in the world, more kindliness than meanness, more charity than hate in the hearts of men. And so, as we draw near the day of greatest import to all Christendom, we of the Calling All Cars cast join with our sponsor in expressing the wish that there may be more of peace on earth and goodwill toward men, and in voicing the hope that all of you may experience a most joyous Christmas season. And again we hear from Sheriff Odell.
Trim's trick was a smart one, but he found that the arm of the law was long and exceedingly swift. He was tried in Manila and sentenced to serve 4 years in Billabib Prison, Manila. This time there was no celebration and no boat trip. He served his time, but in 1933 he repeated the same offense in Stockton and is now serving his sentence in San Quentin.
All cars, attention all cars, a cancellation of all points broadcast number 213 regarding a Shanghai prisoner. Suspects in this case arrested by Department of Justice agents in Manila. That's all. Rosenquist.
Your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande. Calling All Cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars, attention all cars to broadcast 214 regarding a missing juvenile. Be on the lookout for a small boy, 11 years, 60 pounds, height 58 inches. This boy last seen in company of a man driving toward Long Beach. Hold and notify the Missing Persons Bureau. That's all. Rosenquist.
Few of us envy the men who drive our police cars and other public serving equipment because of the rigors and hazards of their emergency work. However, in one respect, some motorists do envy the matchless police car performance of their cars. Apparently under the impression that because Rio Grande Crack powers more emergency cars wherever it is sold than any other brand, this superior gasoline is not available to the general public. You, of course, know better than that. But if you have a neighbor whose motor, as well as he, has been laboring under such an impression, you might tip him off to the facts in the case. He's going to buy a lot of gasoline this coming year. A good resolution to use Rio Grande Cracked will save him some real money during the year and give him matchless performance. Ask him why he uses some average gasoline, when it's an established fact that Rio Grande Cracked is the most thoroughly proved, highly endorsed gasoline in the West. Tell him what the officials of 30 leading cities and counties throughout California say about Rio Grande Cracked. That it does give you quicker starting, smoother acceleration, longer mileage, greater reserve power, and the maximum speed of which your car is capable. Show him that Rio Grande Cracked is first in public service. And when he, like yourself, becomes a dyed-in-the-wool user of Rio Grande Cracked, he'll thank you for saying, get police car performance with Rio Grande Cracked gasoline. It is our privilege and pleasure to welcome again to Calling All Cars Chief James E. Davis of the Los Angeles Police Department. Chief Davis.
Good evening, friends. The amount of work necessary to solve a case is never a deterrent to a police officer. In the story we are about to present, the Rio Grande again brings home the valuable lesson that crime does not pay, and at the same time emphasizes the work sometimes necessary to bring about a capture of the criminal. In this case, the perpetrator of the crime was known even before his crime was realized, but his capture was a different thing entirely. I wish, however, to reserve additional comment on the case for the close of the program.
Dickie, come on.
Just a minute, Mr. Eagle. I'll be right there.
Well, hurry. It's getting late. We'll have to hurry if we're going to the beach before we get back.
I'll be right out. Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. We'll be back early. Be sure to take good care of Dickie, Harry.
Oh, I will, Mrs. Gray. We're just going down to Long Beach for a while.
Leaving us, Dickie?
Yes, Dad. Mr. Eagles is going to take me down to see a music teacher in Long Beach. Maybe I can get some lessons and learn to play my clarinet.
That's swell, Dickie. Be a good boy now and mind Harry.
I will, Dad. Bye, Mom.
Be a good boy, darling.
I will. Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. Bye.
Don't look for us till you see us coming.
What's the matter, Mother? You're acting like Dickie's going to be gone a week.
Oh, I don't know, Will. I'm so nervous. We'd never let him go off by himself like that, and I just worry so.
Why, he's not going off by himself. Harry will take care of him all right.
Oh, I know it, but I just feel nervous.
Well, now, don't you worry. Harry's a good driver. We don't have to worry about Harry looking out for the boy.
Oh, but Dick is so young.
Why, Helen, he's 11. That's old enough to know his way around. Now you stop worrying. We got to get the Christmas tree up. Thus, Dickie Gray began his adventure, an adventure that was to develop into one of the most baffling cases ever to face the Los Angeles Police Department. Late on the second day, Christmas Eve, when no word has come from the boy or his companion, Mr. and Mrs. Gray go to the police.
Oh.
Now, Mrs. Gray, calm yourself. I'm sure you've nothing to worry about. Mr. Gray, will you try to give me a few more facts about this case?
Well, about a year ago, I went to the Free Employment Bureau looking for a painter's helper. This man Eagles was introduced to me. He seemed to be a pretty good painter, so I hired him.
Where did he come from?
Why, I never checked up on that. He told me he had his car registered to a place in North Broadway. I got the address here in my book somewhere.
Oh, never mind. We'll go out there later. Why didn't you come to us before this?
Well, I was afraid that something might happen to Dickie if I started the police looking for him. If this man has kidnapped him, he might do almost anything to him.
Was there anything peculiar about this man?
Well, I don't know. He was a little hipped on the subject of freedom of thought, that sort of thing. Always talking about it. And about everybody having a right to make a man of himself.
How did the boy act toward Eagles?
Oh, Dickie was a sort of hero worshiper as far as Harry was concerned. Harry had been a soldier, and he used to tell Dickie stories by the hour. He was always talking about traveling, adventure, all that kind of stuff.
Have you any pictures of the boy?
Only this little Kodak picture of him.
That's a funny thing, Captain Allen.
You know, last week I was talking to Harry about the boys. Dickie's got 2 brothers. We got to talking about pictures we had of Dickie in the album.
And this morning, when we went to get them, all the pictures have been taken out.
I see. Have you got a picture of eagles by any chance?
Well, here's a little sort of tin-type thing that he had made down at Venice one day while he and Dickie were sightseeing.
Did he have a habit of taking the boy places?
Why, no. Not any more than he did the other children. He seemed crazy about all the youngsters.
Mm-hmm. Know anything about this man's background? Where he came from? Anything at all about him?
Now that I think of it, he used to talk about having some mining property in Death Valley. Seemed pretty familiar with the whole place.
Oh, Captain Allen, please find my boy. I know something terrible's happened to him.
Now, don't get upset again, Mrs. Gray, please.
Oh, we took that man into our home. We kept him from starving, and he's stolen my boy.
Take it easy, Mother. Dickie's all right. He's be all right.
Now, look, Mr. Gray, you and your wife go on back home. Try to make the best of the situation for the time being. We'll get out descriptions and bulletins and start searching. We'll let you know as soon as we get a lead.
All right, Captain Allen, but please find Dickie.
Armed with only the poorest photographs of the abductor and his victim, police prepared bulletins for distribution throughout the Southwest. Sensing a need for speed, bulletins were rushed to out-of-the-way places by automobile and airplane. Then, on the night of December 26th, while the search was going on full force, a cracked Santa Fe train was speeding toward Barstow, past the slumbering town of Hesperia. On into the desert roared the train bearing sleeping men and women, the long needle of the headlights stabbing the gloom. The alert eye of the engineer caught a peculiar gleam on the rails ahead. A piercing shriek from the engine's whistle split the air. Day was breaking over the desert. Fred Phillips, chief special agent of the Santa Fe, and Lieutenant Allen arrived at the scene of the wreck. The clue that had brought the Los Angeles officers into the picture, a set of footprints, had been found in the sand along the right-of-way.
According to our investigation, Allen, this wreck didn't just happen.
What makes you think that?
The engineer said he saw a bar of metal lying on the rails just before the crash, but he wasn't able to stop before he hit it. He found the bar back there where the engine jumped the track. It was one of our own crowbars, used for pulling spikes.
Any idea how it got there?
Yeah, pretty good one. It came from that tool house over to the right there. The lock had been broken off, and the sledgehammer and crowbar were missing. We haven't found the hammer yet, but here's the important part. At least I think it is. There are 2 sets of footprints leading from the road to the tool house, and then to the track. And one of them is made by a child.
What? Are you sure of that?
Positive. Come on, I'll show you. Now, here's where the bar was found. Somebody used it to pull spikes out of 3 tires. Evidently, the hammer was used on the fish plate bolts. See this mark here?
Uh-huh.
Well, that was made by a sledgehammer being dragged. You'll notice that the footprints along here are small, you know, like a child's. And apparently the child was dragging the hammer, so he must have been a small youngster.
Well, otherwise, he would have carried it, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Now, you'll notice that this set of footprints here show a slight limp on the left side.
Mm-hmm. And Gray told me that Eagles had a slight limp in his left leg.
And besides that, the kid's prints are made by new shoes. And according to your bulletin, the Gray boy wore new shoes.
You're right about these footprints leading to the road. But what happens now?
Well, here's some tire marks. Looks like a car was parked here. You see these marks?
Yeah.
Well, here's a new Goodrich tread right here.
Yeah, that's the kind of tire Eagles had on his car.
And if you ask me, I think the trail's hot.
And so do I. I'm going to Victorville and get a bunch of men and scour this part of the desert.
The marks of the tires were followed and found to end at the shack about 4 miles from Victorville and off the beaten road. At Victorville, a check of hotels and restaurants revealed that a man and a boy answering the description of the missing pair had passed through on the night of December 22nd. Mr. Gray was brought from Los Angeles. He identified the footprints in the sand as similar to ones made by his son's new shoes. Meanwhile, back in Victorville,
Officers had succeeded in establishing that Eagles and the boy had been in town on the night of December 26th, the night of the wreck. Fully satisfied now that they were on a hot trail, Allen asked for orders. His instructions were to proceed to Barstow and continue the search. His force, augmented by other officers from Los Angeles and Barstow officials, the searchers combed the town.
Well, Harris, what did you find out?
My men have been in every nook and cranny of this town. So far, here's what we found out. Eagles and the boy were here on the 27th. A waitress over at the Harvey house remembers a man and a boy who came in there about 4 o'clock on that morning.
Well, how does she happen to remember them particularly?
Well, I showed her pictures of them from that bulletin, you know. She recognized the boy right away.
What else did you find?
Well, about 8:30 on the night of the 28th, the Eagles drove into a filling station near the depot and bought 5 gallons of gas.
The filling station man remember the car?
Yep. It was a Dodge Roadster with the homemade curtains.
Well, it looks like our man is still in the neighborhood.
Looks that way. I've asked Sheriff Shea to send me enough men to block all the highways leading out of here. If Eagles is still here, we'll get him.
At the request of the deputy, Sheriff Shea arranged a blockade of all through roads. The sheriff's men then covered all known mines and shacks in the vicinity of Victorville and Barstow. Then, on the morning of the 29th of December, 7 days after Dickie and his abductor had disappeared, Harris and Allen arrived at a filling station at the edge of town.
Well, Joe, what's the trouble?
We've been robbed, Ed.
That so? When?
Sometime after midnight last night. I left here just about 12 o'clock.
Oh, Joe, meet Detective Allen of Los Angeles. He's up here on a case.
How are you?
How do you do?
Seen anything that might show how the burglars worked?
Nope, except that the door was broken open with a sledgehammer or something.
Hammer, eh?
Yep, it looks that way.
Well, let's take a look.
Anybody except you been around here this morning?
Nope, I'm the only one.
Oh, Harris.
Yeah?
Take a look at these footprints.
Where?
In this sand here. Right by the side of the door.
Uh-huh.
You see that toe mark? Yeah. Heavy toe, light heel.
Like a guy with a game leg might make, huh?
Yeah, that's it. And it's the left foot, too. That's the same kind of print we found out at the wreck the other night.
I believe it is, at that.
And here's a small footprint, made by a new shoe. Harris, that's the two we're looking for.
Looks like this bird's taking the kid right along with him, doesn't it?
Hey, Ed, Mr. Allen.
Yeah?
There's some car tracks, fresh ones.
How do you know?
I raked this part of the driveway last night, just before I left.
Well, maybe somebody just drove through.
If they did, they stopped. Here's where the car skidded on one side.
That's a Goodrich tread, Harris. And that's the kind of tire Eagle's car had on the left rear wheel.
Okay, let's round up some of the boys and see if we can follow the trail.
Day after day, the search went on. From Barstow to Needles, the entire country was scoured, but no sign of the missing pair. From Pinion Wells came a report of the strange footprints. And though a checkup revealed them to be the same as the track previously followed, still the quarry eluded pursuers. Through the burning heat of the desert, through the snows of the mountains, down into the dark and marrow-chilling tunnels of abandoned mines went the intrepid officers. Each time they came back empty-handed and discouraged. Back in Los Angeles, Allen confers with Chief of Detectives Klein and Dickie's father.
Well, Mr. Gray, we've exhausted every lead. We've covered hundreds of miles, climbed mountains, slid on our necks down wet mine shafts, burned up in the desert, and I even spent 10 days on horseback. But the net results, nothing.
Have you received any more letters from Eagles, Mr. Gray?
No, not since the 28th of December. That's the one I showed you.
Well, we've done just about all we can do until we get another tip or some more clues. We've got the entire Southwest plastered with bulletins.
Yes, I realize that you've done everything humanly possible to find my boy.
Of course, I know that doesn't make it any easier for you or your wife. And personally, I can promise you I'll keep on as long as there's a remote possibility of finding the boy.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. I know you will.
Allen, the councilman from Mr. Gray's district has made arrangements for funds to send a couple of National Guard planes out to see if they can find any trace of the boy or that car Eagles is driving. I want you to go along and sort of point out the likely places where they might be hidden.
All right, Captain. When do we start?
Well, as soon as you're ready.
Okay, we'll leave tomorrow morning. Well, I think Mr. Gray should go along, if possible.
I'll be at the airport whenever you say, Captain.
Okay, make it 6 o'clock. All set, Mr. Gray?
Ready whenever you are.
Okay. You'd better follow us and keep in sight. If we find anything, you can fly back for help.
Well, we keep an eye on them.
Good. I hope we find them.
And so do I. See you later. All right, pilot. Let's go. Bear to the right a little, will you? Past that hill.
Okay.
I see a car. Let's get down and get a look at it.
All right. Hold on.
Don't do that.
What's the matter? Can't you take it?
Well, I can, but my stomach hurts.
See anything?
Yeah. I saw the car, but it wasn't a roadster. Let's go. Hey, there's another car down there. Let's take a look.
No, I'm getting awful tired of this.
Well, so am I, but we've got to do it.
Well, just you say.
Nope, no good.
Well, make up your mind.
For 2 days, the searchers flew back and forth over the territory where Eagles and the boy had been last seen. Again, failure greeted their efforts. Weeks went by. Then, on February 22nd, Chief of Detectives Klein called Allen into his office.
Send for me, Chief.
I just got a call from the Motor Vehicle Department.
Yeah?
They've received a letter from Roswell, New Mexico, requesting license plates for a Dodge Roadster. The engine number and old plates checked with a car driven by Harry Eagles.
And all this time, we've been looking all over Death Valley for him.
Yeah, apparently he's in New Mexico. Now, I want you to get there the quickest way you can, by train, automobile, or plane, but get there.
Well, if it's all the same to you, Chief, I'll drive.
No, suit yourself, but get started.
Got any address on Eagles?
Nothing but general delivery, Roswell. Maybe you'd better take somebody with you on this trip.
I'll take Fred Phillips. He's interested in the case because of that train wreck. And if something happens to the car, at least he can flag a train.
Well, all right. Let me know what you find out when you get to Roswell.
Arriving in Roswell, the officers began a systematic check of places likely to have been visited by Eagles and the boy.
Well, let's try this little hotel.
Okay. Something for you, gentlemen?
We're looking for a man and a little boy, about so tall. Got anybody like that around here?
Nope. Haven't had a kid in here in months.
Okay. Thanks. Might try this restaurant.
All right.
What'll it be, boys?
Coffee.
Same.
2 in the mud.
Oh, seen a tall fellow and a little boy wandering around here lately?
Not that I remember. Have lots of people in here, though. Wouldn't pay no particular attention to them.
Well, I don't suppose you would.
Thanks, fella.
Yes, sir. Gas her up?
A 5-gallon.
Mm-hmm. 5 gallon.
You might check the oil, too.
Okay.
You don't happen to remember a fellow coming in here in an old Dodge Roadster with homemade curtains, do you?
Nope. I haven't seen him. What does he look like?
Oh, sort of tall, thin-faced. Has a little boy with him.
No, I ain't seen him.
Thus, from place to place, Allen and Phillips drove, looking for persons who might have seen either Eagles or the boy. On the second day, Phillips took the car and began making a tour of auto camps near the town. Allen started out on foot.
Gee, I didn't see him, mister.
Oh, that's all right, Sonny. You were going pretty fast anyway.
I like to skate, don't you?
Well, I don't know. I haven't tried it since I was a kid.
I like it a lot.
Get your skates for Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
How come you're not in school today?
Haven't any books, and Dad hasn't any money to buy 'em.
Who is your father?
Harry Eagles?
Did you say Eagles?
Sure.
Well, look, what do you say we go over to the fire station and talk this over? Maybe we can do something about those school books.
Swell. Can I see the fire engine?
Of course.
Well, I thought the police station was over there, too.
Well, maybe it is. We'll find out.
Well, Dad told me not to go around the police station.
Well, we'll just go to the fire station. How's that?
Well, I guess Dad won't care if I do that.
Yes, I'm sure your father would be very glad to know that we were there.
Do you really think so? Gee, that's a swell engine out there, isn't it?
It sure is, honey. Oh, by the way, what's your name?
Robert Eagles?
You sure of that?
Mm-hmm.
Can you write?
Sure.
I wonder if you'd write your name in this little book here.
Sure I will.
Robert Eagle. Age 11. I have no brothers or sisters. Robert Eagle. Well, now, that's fine. Where's your mother, Bobby?
She's dead.
What does your father do?
He's a painter. He's working over by the lumberyard painting a house.
Oh, that's so? Well, now, I'll tell you, son. You stay here in the chief's office while I run out and have a talk with your dad. Will you do that?
Sure.
Keep your eye on him, will you, Chief?
And how?
Hello, Fred. When did you get back?
Just a few minutes ago. I couldn't find hide nor hair of that pair.
I did. Come on. Drive me over to the lumberyard. It's in the next block.
Okay, what's up?
Plenty. Let's go.
Well, let me in on it. What's happened?
I found the boy.
No, where? Where is he?
He ran into me.
What?
Yeah, he was skating up and down an alley. He barged right into me as I walked by.
Where is he now?
In the fire chief's office. He's being taken care of all right.
Does he know who you are?
No, not yet. He claims he's Robert Eagles and that his mother's dead. Eagles evidently told him to say that.
I wonder what Eagles' hold is on that boy.
You've got me there. Maybe the kid's scared to death. It looks like it. Take it easy now. Eagle's painting a house over here somewhere.
Well, hey, there's a guy on a ladder at that second house down the street.
Uh-huh. That's the monkey. Pull up by the house. If he starts to get funny, we'll yank the ladder out from under him.
All right.
Hey, Eagles! Come down here a minute.
Who are you? What do you want?
We're police officers. You know what we want.
Come on, Bill. He's going up on the roof.
Oh, no, he's not. Grab that ladder. All right, Eagles. Your game's up. Come along nice-like now, or I'll take you in the hard way.
Hey, what are you arresting me for?
Now, don't try to tell me that you didn't know child stealing was illegal.
I haven't stolen a child.
What do you call this stunt you're pulling with Dickie Gray?
Maybe you just went for a drive and haven't found time to get back yet.
Well, just the same, I didn't steal him. He wanted to get away from home, and I just took him along when I was ready to leave.
Is that the reason you wrote that long-winded letter to his family?
Sure. I was trying to get them to see my point of view about Dickie.
And just what is your point of view about it?
Why, Dick was unhappy at home. The other boys picked on him, always beating him up. And he had been talking about suicide.
Yeah?
I figured I'd get him away for a while and give him a chance to make a man of himself.
Do you figure playing in the streets, keeping him out of school, do you think that's going to make a decent man out of him?
Well, he's happy.
You didn't give a thought to the feelings of his parents, though, did you?
Why, I never dreamed it'd cause all this excitement. I never realized you'd find me down here or any other place. If I had, I never would have stopped.
Say, tell me something. Where did you go from Barstow?
Oh, we drove down to El Paso, sold Dick's clarinet, and then we come on up here.
Why'd you wreck that train?
I wanted the kid to have a good time. I never wrecked a train. I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on, Eagles. We're taking you back to Los Angeles.
Now, look, let me go by the house and get some things, will you? I don't want the boy to know about this. I don't want him to see me this way.
All right. Come on. Okay. We'll go in with you.
I've got some stuff in the closet here. All right, Alan. Get your hands up.
Give me that shotgun.
Get you, Alan?
No. This'll hold him.
Oh, nothing to it, Fred. I'm getting old. I can't hit him as hard as I used to.
In just a moment, Chief Davis will conclude our program. Before another Calling All Cars program comes your way, 1937 will end, and we shall set out on the new year. Some folks will raise their right hands and firmly resolve they will swear off this or that. May I suggest for some of you an affirmative resolution that tens of thousands of Californians apparently made last January 1st and kept throughout the year? It goes like this. Whereas a certain motor fuel is the overwhelming favorite of police car drivers and the pilots of fire engines, ambulances, and other emergency equipment, and whereas these men are the world's highest authorities on gasoline because they demand the most of it and drive the most, and whereas the aforesaid motor fuel not only delivers police car performance but costs less per mile, therefore be it resolved that I, an intelligent motorist, with an eye to getting the most for my money, will henceforth use no other gasoline but Rio Grande Cracked, the most highly endorsed gasoline in all the West. The gasoline that is first in public service and will be first in mine. Then your document will be witnessed by a happy and powerful new year, and you will have police car performance in your car. And now, Chief Davis.
Harry Eagle stood at the bar of justice, and with a sneer on his face, heard the judge sentence him to a life term in San Quentin prison. Recommendation was made that no consideration ever be given to any application for pardon or parole, and that the complete sentence be served. But no sentence that could be imposed by a court could ever take away the searing mark left on the minds of Dickie's parents by the sorrow and anxiety they suffered.
Thank you, Chief Davis.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars, attention all cars, a cancellation of broadcast 214 regarding a missing juvenile. The child in this case has been returned. That's all. Rosenquist.
This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande. Calling all cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars, attention, to broadcast 212 at 5th and Olive. Assist the officer. That is all. Harmon.
If you were on trial for your life, you'd get the best lawyer in town. Fortunately, you're in no such predicament. But, friends, the life of your motor is at stake. And it's up to you. You can send it to a premature death by forcing it to use inferior motor fuels, or you can add to its lifespan and usefulness by always giving it a diet of Rio Grande Cracked gasoline. No less authorities than the officials of 30 leading cities and counties throughout California declare that the lives of your police cars, fire engines, ambulances, and other public-serving cars are prolonged by the exclusive use of this superior fuel. They are on record as specifying Rio Grande Cracked because they have proved that Rio Grande Cracked delivers quicker starting, steadier acceleration, greater reserve power and speed, and more miles for the taxpayer's money. Drive in to the red and white Rio Grande station in your neighborhood tomorrow morning. Take aboard a tank full of this finer motor fuel and begin getting in your car the same police car performance that has made Rio Grande Cracked the most highly endorsed gasoline in the West. Rio Grande appreciates the cooperation of law enforcement agencies in making possible this series of programs by opening to us the confidential files of their departments. We have therefore asked Chief James E. Davis of the Los Angeles Police Department to prepare a foreword for our program. Chief Davis.
Good evening, friends. I can best preface this program by quoting the words of Captain Edward Chitwood of our local narcotic division. He says, I wish I had time and the facilities to impress upon the American people the plots which I know, to my horror, are in motion to make this nation a dope-ridden land. Then I would have the satisfaction of sending more of these diabolical plotters into prison cells and of shocking millions of our citizens into action. Our story tonight is only one part of this insidious traffic. Multiply it 1,000 times, and you may have some idea of the enormity of the trade. I shall have more to say along this line at the end of the program.
In a remote section of a northern state of Mexico, just south of the Big Bend country, a general confers with his adjutant, Juan Vaca.
Juan, I have orders to watch for a shipment of narcotics being smuggled into the United States.
Are the drugs coming through here?
Apparently, the smugglers have grown bold.
How much do you think they are carrying?
According to the information I have received, there are drugs worth $1 million of American money being carried by these smugglers.
But where in Mexico is there so much dope?
It comes in from Japan, and then it is brought north and smuggled into the United States.
When do you expect this caravan?
It is due to pass this way at dawn, and is heavily guarded by armed men.
Does it have the protection of our government?
Of course not. But there are other officials who are not always conscientious about enforcing the law.
What do you propose to do?
I propose to stop the shipment, Juan.
And having stopped it, General?
That, Juan, waits for mañana.
Sí, mañana por la mañana.
Sí, in the morning.
El general mata al amanecer.
Sí, sí. The general kills at dawn.
A few miles to the south, a group of men, high-powered rifles carried carefully across saddle bows, rode toward the camp of the waiting general.
Hey, how much further is it?
Oh, not far now, senor. Only a few miles.
Yeah, that's what you've been saying for 2 hours.
It is only a matter of 15 or 20 miles now.
What about the soldiers in this section?
Oh, there are none that I know of, senor.
Well, it's going to be too bad for anybody who tries to stop us now, this near safety.
Oh, your troubles only begin when you reach the United States, senor. I know. I have been there before.
Yeah, that's what Ramon told me when he sent you with me. Hey, just how many trips have you made?
Oh, maybe a dozen, maybe more, maybe less. I don't know.
Did you ever have any trouble with soldiers or customs men?
Oh, si, senor, many times.
Yeah? Well, what'd you do?
Oh, sometimes we fight, sometimes we run, sometimes we just pay.
Pay?
Si, senor. Sometimes it's easier to pay a few pesos and go free than it is to stay and fight.
Well, I'm not paying, see? I'm fighting.
That is okay, senor. Every man to his own humor. Me, I do not care to die.
You mean if there's a fight, you'll run away?
Pedro runs away from no man, senor. If el jefe says stay...
Well, el jefe has said stay.
Still, senor, I do not wish to die.
Die. Try talking about something pleasant once in a while, will you? Hey, you guys, come on up here. This guy's getting me jittery.
I'll keep your shirt on.
Now, we're getting fairly close to the border. You birds stay close in. Hey, what the devil? Come on, let him have it.
Senor, we better run for it.
Run? You risk losing $1 million worth of morphine? Don't be a sap.
That is better than losing your life, senor.
Not for me, it ain't.
Oh. Do not shoot, soldados. We surrender.
Take on your guns. Throw them away.
See, we do that, senor. Only please do not shoot.
Where are the drugs you're carrying?
Here, in the bag the senor was carrying. The man you've killed.
All right. Keep your hands up.
Please, senor, do not shoot.
They are all dead, Senor General.
Sí, es la verdad, Juan. The general always kills at dawn. Juan, take a letter.
Si, senor.
To the commanding general, Department of the North. At dawn on this date, a detachment of my men discovered what they believed to be a band of smugglers. Unfortunately, the suspected men began firing on my troops.
A very foolish thing.
Yes, a very foolish thing. You may include that, Juan.
Si, senor.
My men returned the fire, and as a result, 6 men of the suspected group were killed.
Shall we say more men, General?
No, I think 6 is enough. Continue. It was found, however, that the men were not the smugglers,
What, General?
but were instead evidently escaped prisoners. I have buried the bodies near my camp. Oh, have you attended to that, Juan?
Si, senor.
We will not mention that 3 of the men were Americans.
It would not be wise.
No. Continue. There was no way to identify these men. New paragraph, Juan. It is my duty further to report that in the fighting, my trusted lieutenant, Juan Vaca, was killed, together with 4 of my men.
Aye, General?
Si, Juan. You and 4 others were killed in that fight.
But, General, I do not understand.
You will in time. Finish the letter.
Si, senor. It is ready for you to sign.
Bueno. We shall send it later. Now, you remember the rancho I own in New Mexico?
I remember that, General.
That will be your home from now on.
How about the